Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtavotara Tata Shri Śrīmad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtavotara Tata Shri Śrīmad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Sahridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Veda Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the Samud devotees. All glories to the Sumo devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Sumo devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Preshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishna Swadhama Bhagate Dharma Jnana Divi Saha Kalau Nasadrisamesa Pudana Kodunoditaha. So continuing our study of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, as we recite every morning, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Every day we do service to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The Acharyas say Nityam Bhagavata. Nitya actually means eternal, but the Acharya is very merciful and they say at least every day we can study one verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Srila Prabhupada set up this system so we can every day have darshan of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and hear from the Bhāgavatam and discuss the Bhāgavatam. So today we're looking at Canto 3, which is entitled, I believe, The Status Quo. Yes, The Status Quo. And we're on chapter number 5, Vidura's talks with Maitreya, and we're looking at text number 30 today. Aham tatvad vikurvanam mano vaikarikad abhyut vaikarikas cha ye deva artabhivyan janam yataha aham tadvad vikurvanan mano vaikarikat adbhut vaikarikaschad ye deva artabhivyanjanam yataha aham tadvad vikurvanan mano vaikarikat abhut vaikarikascha ye deva artabhivyanjanam yataha aham tadvad vikurvanan mano vaikarikad abhut vaikarikascha ye deva artabhivyanjanam yataha. Aham tadvad vikurvanam mano vaikarikadabhut vaikarikascha ye deva aham tatvad vikurvanam vaikārikādabhūt vaikārikāscha deva vardabhivyājananyataha. Aham tadva vikuranam aham tadva vikurvanan manovaikārikādabhūt vaikārikāscha deva vardabhivyājananyataha. Aham tatva vikurvanan manovaikārikādabhūt vaikārikāscha deva vardabhivyājananyataha. Aham tatvat, from the principle of false ego. What does it mean? Vikurvanat, too far. By transformation. Manaha, the mind. Vaikarikat, by interaction with the mode of goodness. Abhut, generated. Vaikārikaha, by interaction with goodness. Cha, also. Ye, all these. Devaha, demigods. Artha, the phenomenon. Abhivyanjanam, physical knowledge. Yataha, the source. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the false ego is transformed into mind by interactions with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness. Purport: false ego interacting with the different modes of material nature is the source of all materials in the phenomenal world. It's a short purport. One sentence. That's it. That's all. But there's a lot there. So let's see if Guru and Krishna can empower us to say something. Om Jnanamirandasya Ghananjana Shalakaya Chachurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sabetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Shcha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Vaisheshika Dāsa Adhikariti Namne Nama Praharshaya Shilaya Prabhupada Anusadine Anintitare Tasmai Shastra Bhajana Chodine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nevishesha Sunyamadi Paschatade Siddharine. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pagulang hayate girim yakripat maham bande shigurundim taranam. Paramanam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. One time my Guru Maharaj was giving class in Chicago, and he was sitting on the Vyasa-san. And before the class started, he just looked out into the audience of devotees and he said, "Where's the garland? Where's the garland?" And he repeated it a few times, "Where's the garland?" And then finally a devotee brought over a garland, and then he recited a verse from the 11th canto, which I actually have it here somewhere. I don't have my phone on me, but it's in the 11th canto where it talks about how we should receive the prasadam of the Lord. The devotees should decorate their body with the garland of the Lord. It mentions there. So he was saying that he was waiting for the garland and devotees to come. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, the verse one more time. Aham tadvad vikur vanham nan mano vaikarikat abhut vaikarikashchaye deva arta bhivyanjanam yataha. Translation: the false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness. And the purport again, I'll read it since it's just one sentence. False ego interacting with the different modes of material nature is the source of all materials in the phenomenal world. So here we're continuing to hear Maitreya describing to Vidura how the material world is becoming manifest. And in the second canto and in other places also, it's mentioned by Srila Prabhupada how the universal form of the Lord is there to initially attract those who don't have a clear conception of who God is. So it's very interesting to also hear about, even for devotees, you know, it gives us a sense of awe. Wow, Krishna is so amazing, God is so amazing. You know, everything in this creation. Aham sarvasa prabhavo mata sarvam papatate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samamita. All material and spiritual energies emanate from Him. So here in the Bhagavatam, we're getting a clear description on how that's actually happening. Because it's actually said that the Bhagavatam is an expansion of the principles that are presented in the Bhagavad Gita. So in the Bhagavatam, we see these different principles that actually explained further and expanded upon. So here we're hearing such one such expansion of how this material creation comes about. And it's very interesting here, I thought, as I was reading this, that the false ego interacting with the different modes of material nature is a source of all materials in the phenomenal world. So it's kind of like we see, by this verse, by this purport of Srila Prabhupada, we understand how this whole material world is built on this foundation. It's built on the sense of false ego. So the false ego, also known as, said also as a misidentification or misunderstanding of the proper position of things. So in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse number 27, Krishna says, Prakriti kriyamanani guna kamani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So that the spirit soul, bewildered by the false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities, which in actuality are carried out by the modes of material nature. So this basic principle of misunderstanding who we actually are, misunderstanding this material world, has the conditioned souls in the position that they're in, which is falsely trying to enjoy in this material world, trying to lord it over material nature. And Srila Prabhupada would often say, lord it over. We see things, or one may see things in this world and think, this is for me, this is mine, it's meant for my enjoyment. Because we're not properly understanding the actual position that everything in this world is meant for Krishna's enjoyment, and that we're eternal servants of Krishna. So because everything in this world has its basis is based on this false ego, that's why the false identification is so prominent. And it's all pervading. We may think we may own everything. We may think everything around us belongs to us, but in actuality, this body, even this body, which is like the pinnacle of the false ego, thinking this is me, is just elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Different elements that don't even belong to me. They belong to Krishna. They belong to the material energy, material nature. So it's described that this body is like a lease. And has anybody ever leased a car, or have a lease on an apartment or something like that? Well, anyway, it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. You sign a contract. So there's an owner. So similarly, this body is on lease. And the thing about this body is that we actually don't know when the lease is going to run out. So with a cell phone contract, we may know. With a car contract, we may know 36 months, 3 years lease. Car mortgage, 30 years. But the body, the material body we have, there is no set date. Well, there is a set date, but we just don't know about it. It can be 7 seconds, 7 minutes, 7 years, 70 years. Who knows? Krishna knows. The demigod knows. Yamaraj knows. Yamaraj is Vidura. Coming as Vidura, so he knows. So the question is then, if false ego is the building blocks of this world, and this world is not actually where we belong, and this body is not actually who I am, then what is the solution? How do we come out of this misidentification? How do we come to the truth? How do we come to the reality? So, how do we come to the reality? Or are we just damned to eternal condemnation, like the Christians say, and that we'll be in hell forever? Or is there another place, another objective, another destination for us? And yes, by reading these Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we understand we're meant to go back home, back to God, and back to the spiritual world. But how do we do that, being currently in a position where one is bewildered by thinking that I am this body, I am this man, I am Russian, I am Indian, I am Bengali, I am German, I'm black, whatever. How do we rise above this misidentification and misunderstanding? So the real understanding is Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nityadas. That we're eternal servants of Krishna. And that we're meant to eternally serve Krishna. But currently the conditioned soul is stuck in a conception that we are this material body. But luckily for us, or fortunately for us, Krishna and his pure devotees have given us a process by which we can go back or be reinstated again in our actual position, or be reinstated in reality. And Srila Rupa Goswami, do you know who Srila Rupa Goswami is? Yeah? Rahul and Darius may not know, so I'll let him know. So there's the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And Rupa Goswami is one of those 6 Goswamis, the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the direct descendants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, carrying out the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. And Rupa Goswami was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give us a proper understanding in devotional service. So he wrote this book called the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is the nectar of the ocean of devotion. And Srila Prabhupada did a summary study, which is called the Nectar of Devotion. But in this book, he gives a couple of really nice verses which give us a clue on how we can utilize these material bodies in the proper way. One such verse he says, Sarvo Padi Vinirmuktam Tatpara Mainaliyamalam Rishikena Rishikesa Sevana Bhakti Uchate. So he says Rishikena Rishikesa. Sarvo Padi, Sarvo means all, Upadis means designations. So me or myself, I thinking that I'm a 27-year-old Dominican living in Brooklyn is a designation. It's like a car. It's like, dare I say, it's like as if you said, I'm driving a Honda. It's the same exact thing. There's no difference. Or Raul was to say, I'm driving a Beamer. He probably has his Beamer outside, 5 Series. So it's the same thing. It's a upadi. It's a designation. It's not who we really are. But this verse says, Sarvo Padi Vinumuktam Tatpada Mena Nirmanam Rishikena Rishikesa Sevana Bhakti Uchate. So by engaging our senses, these tongues, these eyes, the nose, the ears, our hands, our legs, in the service of Krishna, we actually become free from these upadis. We start to understand that I'm actually an eternal spiritual being. I'm not this 30-year-old bag of bones. You're 30 right there? 27. 27. Oh, you're 27 also. I thought he was 30. Sorry if I made you older than you are. So doing this service, this devotional service, is what connects us to Krishna. By engaging in devotional service, we connect to Krishna. We connect to the spiritual teachers in our line. And it may seem like, Prabhupada writes that it may seem that the devotees and normal people outside are doing the same things. People outside are eating, people outside are walking, people outside are singing, people outside are selling things, people outside are cooking, people outside are using their computers, people outside are dressing mannequins. Now it's Black Friday, this sale, you pass by all these stores, there's mannequins and there's people nicely dressing the mannequins, making them look all nice. So what is the difference? We're dressing the deities, we're eating, we're taking prasadam, we're selling books. What is the difference? The difference is that it's done for Krishna. And when something is done for Krishna, it has an eternal benefit. It's not temporary. We will eternally benefit from these things. It gets added to our bank account. We actually have a bank account in the spiritual world. Everyone has a bank account. And the more devotional service you do, and the more you engage in service, this bank account starts to become filled up. And what's the nice thing about this bank account is that when your body changes, and say, when you've, at the end of this life, you're lying there on your deathbed, and the doctor tells you you have 5 minutes left. That $1 billion you've built up in the material bank account won't have any value. You can tell the doctor, I'll give you all this money. Just give me 5 more years. The doctor will look at you and say, sorry, sir, I can't give you not even 5 more seconds. That's it. But any service you've done for Krishna, Krishna does not forget. And that is there. And that is their eternal benefit. And that service that we're doing is actually building our spiritual body. My Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshwar Prabhu, mentions how when we're engaging in service, he particularly mentions this point in reference to book distribution, but also it can be applied to any service we're doing. That we're getting chit rakta for our chit sharira, spiritual blood for our spiritual body. So we're more and more uncovering our eternal identity as we engage in devotional service. And of course, Srila Prabhupada urges us that we should try in this lifetime, this very lifetime, not wait. Why wait? Like the store is having a sale. 99% off if you come today. I'll come next week. I'll buy it for full price. No. Come today. There's a sale. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has just come 500 years ago. And he's giving everyone this opportunity to engage in the Sankirtan movement. Now. Right now. Sale is now. Take advantage. Take it up. Chant Hare Krishna. Take Krishna Prasadam, dance joyfully in kirtan, be enthusiastic. We've been given this process, greatest gift. And right now, actually, we're in the midst of the Srila Prabhupada Marathon. And during this marathon, you can say we also have a sale. We're going out, devotees going out all over the world, urging people to take up the process of Krishna consciousness. Take it up, take it up. It's a sale. Take it up. And during this Prabhupada Marathon, primarily we focus on distributing as many of Srila Prabhupada's books as possible. Because the reason why people don't understand what they should do with their lives, or what is the best thing to do with their lives, because they don't have the proper knowledge. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada would say this ISKCON society is meant to educate the people at large. And education means books. It means that people need the curriculum. They need to have the proper understanding, the proper tools, the proper knowledge to know what to do. So this knowledge is in Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada said, my books will be the law books for the next 10,000 years. Any lawyers here? No. Doctors? IT? Business. Okay, two businessmen here. But anyway, see, books and business, you have the accounts, you have business law, all these different things. In IT, you have your C++. You have to know and study inside and out. So similarly, these books of Srila Prabhupada are giving us there the law books, but how one living in the material world can go back again to the spiritual world. And it's very clearly drawn out there. The process is very clear, how to do. So this education is very important. And this was actually lacking in human society. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when Srila Prabhupada first met him, Srila Prabhupada, since he grew up in Calcutta, he grew up in a Gaudiya Vaishnava family, so he understood, okay, sadhu, you offer dandavats, you offer obeisances to the sadhu. So as soon as he saw Srila Bhaktisiddhanta for the first time, he offered obeisances. And before Srila Prabhupada could even get up, he said, you are an intelligent young man. You should preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western countries. Like that, immediately. And Srila Prabhupada was kind of struck, kind of held it back. He's like, I've never met this man in my life. And he's already instructing me on what to do for the rest of my life. And then he put so many arguments before Srila Prabhupada. But there's no way, who will hear your message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? India is a dependent nation. Unless we get independence, who will hear this message? But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness is so urgent that it cannot wait. And actually the only thing that's lacking in this world is Krishna consciousness. Because political upheaval will always be there. It's always been there, will always be there. You go back to the demigods, they're always fighting, It's nothing new. It will continue on in the future. So we can't solve the political problems of this world, no matter how much you try. So ultimately the solution is we become Krishna conscious and go back to the world where we actually belong, where we'll actually live eternally. Not some stopgap measure and try to make this world a comfortable place to live, get a nice comfortable chair and a nice massage chair and a heating pad to take care of your back and all these different things. Maybe these things may be there just to stay sane enough to practice devotional service, but these are not the end all of things. One shouldn't make material comfort their prime goal in life, because at the end of life you will be disappointed. And you will look back and think, I wasted so many years. And I saw this practically, actually. When I spent 4 years working as a waiter, food servant in assisted living. So I was taking care of senior citizens, 80 to 100 years old on average. And most of them, I'd probably say practically all of them, at that age are then turning religious, after having spent their whole life trying to enjoy this world. And I particularly remember this one gentleman, Morris, I'm going to call him. He was like a Hollywood agent. So he would have all these celebrities. So in his room he had pictures of all these celebrities. And at that time I was like 17, 18 years old. I would go into his room and those pictures meant nothing to me. All these celebrities were dead and gone. From an era bygone. But he was holding on to that. He was trying to hold on to that. Yeah, I was the agent to this fellow and that fellow and this lady. Trying to hold on to that. But we see it was his life was, like sand just going through his fingers. That's it. He was trying to hold on to these things that are meaningless. But if you engage in Krishna service, this is something meaningful. And it's something that will carry on with you. Not just in this life, but to the next life. And to the next life and eternally. Until we go back home, back to God. And this is the actual substance. The actual vastu is devotional service to Krishna. So this Prabhupada Marathon, we have a special opportunity to share this knowledge with people. We can go out on Harinam, we can distribute prasadam, we can distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, and get everyone a chance to engage in devotional service, somehow, some way. Just by them seeing the devotees chanting, they make spiritual advancement. Just by them touching books, they make spiritual advancement. Just by them taking a little prasadam, they make spiritual advancement. And I just wanted to read a couple verses for you guys, if someone can. I'm sorry, I don't have my phone on me. But Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu. So I'll just quickly look it up here. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 3. And we're going to look at text 77 and 78. So 77 says, okay. Sankirtana Pavakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtan Yagya Tanra Bhaje Saidhyanya. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the initiator of the Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. One who worships him through Sankirtan is fortunate indeed. Text 78. Seitai Sumera Ara Kubi Samsara Sarva Yagna Haite Krishna Nama Yagna Shara. Such a person is truly intelligent, whereas others who have but a poor fund of knowledge must endure the cycle of repeated birth and death. Of all sacrificial performances, the chanting of the Lord's holy name is the most sublime. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the father and inaugurator of the Sankirtan movement. One who worships him by sacrificing his life, money, intelligence, and words for the Sankirtan movement is recognized by the Lord and endowed with his blessings. All others may be said to be foolish, for of all sacrifices in which a man may apply his energy, a sacrifice made for the Sankirtan movement is the most glorious. So in whatever capacity we can, if we have millions of dollars in the bank, give some part of that to Krishna. Give it to the devotees here engaged in the Sankirtan movement so we can distribute more and more books. If we have some ability to make nice prasadam, make some nice prasadam for the Sankirtan devotees. I know my request may be biased because I'm going out for Sankirtan, so I'm asking for nice prasadam. But yeah, we can do it. We can help in any way. We can come and help tie books with the devotees. We can help move books. We can help, cover services at the temple so devotees can go out and do books. We can volunteer on the weekends and do some book distribution. So many different ways we can participate. And if you don't know how to be engaged, you can come and ask Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu. He gives nice engagement for everyone. So, yeah, everyone, if anyone's listening online and you'd like to participate, right now the goal for the Brooklyn Temple Sankirtan, we've set a goal of 5,000 books for the marathon. Yesterday we did 348, so that leaves a total of 4,652 books left to reach the goal. So we have another 34 days to do that. I think we can do it. I think we can pass it, actually. So if anybody would like to help in any way, sponsoring some books, coming out to distribute books, you can get in contact with us. Or anybody here who would like to come out, you can also. The door is open. Okay, that's my class. I'd like to end it there. If anybody has any questions, comments, reflections, corrections, there's a microphone here. Haribo, Haribo, it's not online. It's on, but it's not working. Hare Krishna. Oh, the receiver's not on. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, anyway. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Krishna Kripa Prabhu? Okay. There it is.
Just regarding, you're talking about how there's a sale which you purchase immediately. Is that statement in the Bhagavad Gita, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly, everyone follows my path and respects. So the thing is that, but the more you give to Krishna, the more Krishna will reciprocate. So that the most intelligent thing is to give everything to Krishna. If you give yourself to Krishna, Krishna will give himself to you. And you cannot allow him because Krishna has more to offer than you.
Haribo.
Yeah. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada would say that, Krishna will give you with 10 hands. What can you take with one? But also if he wants to take away, he'll take away with 10 hands. What can you protect? Darius has a question.
I guess just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I wonder, in Vedic religion, is there a version of hell, or if you're especially bad, or do you just take lower births?
Both.
Oh.
Both of what you asked are there. So you just got the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
So if you were to take a look in the 5th canto, towards the later part of the 5th canto, there's a description of the hellish planets and the different activities that you need to do to go to these different places. So it's interesting because once you do read this, at least for myself when I read it, I was like, man, I deserve to go to every single place that's described in this. But Krishna is so merciful that when you take up the process of devotional service, actually you burn more than karma than what you can even imagine. But that's the point. The point is that by us giving people a chance to connect to Krishna consciousness, this is what will save them from. We'll save them from having to suffer these different hellish conditions of life. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for the nice class. With regard to what you were saying regarding Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he instructed Prabhupada as he was getting up. So when Prabhupada questioned Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur that first we need to get independence. Who will care about the message of Krishna consciousness without independence? But we actually see even after independence of India, Prabhupada was struggling so much in India to spread Krishna consciousness. Hardly anyone took it up. So what Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, that Krishna consciousness is the first priority, is actually, it holds true. So only after independence, before independence, Indians were worried about getting independence, and after independence they were so much influenced by the West, and they were all preparing their baggages to go to the West. So there's no material limitation or material obstacle for Krishna consciousness, and that is the first priority. And I have one question that when you said ahankara vimuratma kartaham iti manyate, so that means that for the person, the modes are carrying out, everything, the material nature carries out. But person under 3 modes, or one who is under the false ego, which also means he's under 3 modes, he thinks that I am the doer of activities. But how does the situation change for a devotee or for one who has transcended the modes? How does the entire situation change?
Well, there's a couple things that come to mind. I was hearing Srila Prabhupada talk about how, well, this is in regards to karma, how reactions start to work on one. He says then when one surrenders to Krishna, it becomes transcendental reactions. So then Krishna starts to arrange things to help bring the devotee closer to him. Now, how does it work with, you can say, things being carried out? Still, it's the same, in the sense that we're still not doing the things. We're only having the desire to do the things. In the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned, upadrastanumantascha. So Krishna is the overseer and permitter in the heart. So even myself, sitting here on this Vyasasana, desiring to give this class, it's only happening by Krishna's mercy. It's not me that is in control. Because if I would have walked in here, let's say, walking down the stairs, if let's say I trip and fall and break my face, then I couldn't have come in the class. So even though I was desiring to maybe give the class, still, I'm at the dispense of the material energy, which is ultimately under Krishna's control. Shristi sthiti padana sadhani shakti eka cha yeva yashiku vanani vibharti durga ishtanu rupa papi yasha chateta tesa govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. So even Durga, who's controlling the material energy, for the devotee she becomes Yoga Maya. So she's helping us engage in the activities of Krishna consciousness. But still, we're not the one who's in control. But the difference is that then we're not bewildered. The devotee is not bewildered by what's going on, because they understand, okay, it's being carried out by Krishna's energy. I'm not the one in control. Yeah.
I have one next question, a subsequent question to this. Then usually what we say is, we are not the doers, Krishna is the doer for devotees. So when Krishna is actually acting through the devotees, we also learn that if something good happens, then we give credit to Krishna. If something bad happens, we are supposed to take credit, we are supposed to blame ourselves. So why is that?
Tenukampam sukshamikshamano bhujana evatmakritam vipakam hirvatvaparve vididhan namaste jiveta yomukti pade sadayabak. Lord Brahma prays. He says that I'm seeing that bad activities or bad reactions that are happening are due to my past karma. But I will continue to serve you, my Lord, regardless of what happens. So yeah, sometimes we may make a mistake. So one example that comes to mind is Srila Prabhupada was, I forget exactly where he was, but someone brought him Chanamrita. And the Mataji who had made the Chanamrita, she had put salt instead of sugar. So they gave Prabhupada Chanamrita, he drank it, he was like, who put salt instead of sugar? And then she raised her hand very innocently. I did, Srila Prabhupada. I must be Krishna's mercy. And then Prabhupada, like a lion, Krishna's mercy is not Krishna's mercy, it's your foolishness. So this is the tendency of the conditioned soul, is we have the tendency to make mistakes, tendency to be illusion, we have imperfect senses, and we have the tendency to cheat others. So until we're on a completely 100% pure platform, then sometimes mixers from our past, karma and all these things are going to be there that influence even our devotional service. Any other comments, questions, corrections? Devarshi? No? All good? Our guests? Nothing? Rahul? Okay. All right. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Gaura Premanandi, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Next.